Many women believe that the signs of a blessed relationship appear in grand declarations of love, in intense promises, or in gestures that call attention. But the truth is exactly the opposite. The greatest signs that something powerful is coming to your love life are not loud, nor obvious. They happen in silence, in almost invisible details, in situations that, at first glance, seem ordinary. And that's precisely why so many let pass unnoticed what could completely transform their story. The universe never shouts when it wants to announce something grand. It whispers. It repeats discreetly until your heart awakens and realizes. It's at this point that many get confused, believing that nothing is happening, when, in truth, the greatest turn in their love life has already begun. You need to understand that a blessing doesn't arrive like a storm that drags everything at once. It arrives like a breeze that prepares the environment, like a gentle touch that opens the way for something much greater. And when you learn to see these hidden signs, you discover that life is already organizing every detail of your relationship to take it to a new level of love, connection, and purpose. What you're about to hear now is not just advice, it's a revelation. Because while many women believe their relationships have cooled off, that silence is a sign of distance and that the lack of declarations is proof of disinterest, few realize that, in some cases, this is exactly the first message of a spiritual transformation that is already in motion. Therefore, I need to tell you something that may seem controversial. If you're experiencing strange signs, subtle changes, and even improbable coincidences, don't ignore them. It might be exactly the warning that the blessing you've been asking for is already knocking at your door. And if you remain attentive, you'll see with clarity everything that the universe has already begun to reveal. There's something that few people notice, but that completely transforms the way we see love: silence. For many, silence is discomfort, a sign of distance, even a threat that something is not well. But for those who have learned to listen with their heart, silence is the most powerful voice of the relationship. It speaks louder than any declaration, because it doesn't depend on words to reveal the truth. It's in the silence full of peace that one of the most precious signs that a blessing is approaching your love life is hidden. When two people are together and don't need to make an effort to maintain an artificial conversation, when they simply feel good in each other's presence without needing to prove anything, that's where the bond shows itself to be true. This silence is not absence, it's fullness. It's not emptiness, it's fulfillment. It's not distance, it's invisible closeness. Many couples fear this moment because they were taught to believe that passion is measured by the intensity of words and by the noise of emotions. But, in truth, when the relationship begins to gain spiritual depth, silence emerges as a confirmation that there's already enough trust to sustain the connection. It's as if the souls conversed on another level, while the bodies simply rest. This silence is a rare gift, because it only happens when the heart finds rest in the other. It's not born in fragile relationships, where insecurity demands constant attention and the fear of losing dominates every gesture. On the contrary, it manifests when trust is already rooted, when simple presence is enough to calm. The silence of a healthy relationship is not a void to be filled, but a soft melody that only the two can hear. And when this silence appears, it's because something is being prepared in the invisible. It's as if the universe, in its wisdom, were organizing the next steps of this union. Silence becomes a harbinger, a subtle announcement that a blessing is coming. It's at this moment that hearts begin to align, that energies connect, and that the couple is strengthened to live something greater. Many women, however, get confused when facing this sign. Some think that if he doesn't talk as much as before, it's because he lost interest. Others believe that if there aren't so many conversations, it's because love has cooled. But the truth is that there are moments when silence is exactly the proof that the relationship has matured. Love no longer needs to shout to exist, because it has already found deep roots. This silence of peace is a spiritual lesson. Not everything needs to be explained. Not everything needs to be translated into words. Some things can only be felt. And, in this feeling, lies the revelation. Those who can embrace this silence begin to perceive that there's something greater acting, preparing the couple to live a phase of greater harmony, complicity, and even purpose. It's important to understand that this silence is not static. It opens doors, it creates space. It's in this space that subtle gestures gain meaning, that exchanged glances become entire declarations, that small touches reveal more than long conversations. When silence is present, it's because the energy between the two already speaks for itself, and there's no need to seek external proof. This is the first sign of the blessing that's approaching, the peace that invades the moments when there's no speech, but there is connection. It's the silent message that the relationship is being elevated to a level where the soul communicates more than the mouth. A sign that shouldn't be ignored, because it announces that the best is yet to come. When a blessing is about to manifest in a relationship, it almost never arrives in a grandiose way at the beginning. What comes first are delicate, discreet signs, but loaded with meaning. It's through small gestures that the universe begins to reveal that something special is being built. And, many times, these signs appear in the form of unexpected care. Suddenly, he starts to worry about things that before might have seemed insignificant. A coffee prepared the way you like it, a message sent for no apparent reason, just to say he's thinking of you, a silent look that transmits support when you feel insecure. These gestures, so simple at first sight, carry within them an invisible force. They are proof that love is maturing and becoming more conscious. Unexpected care doesn't arise just from the desire to please. It's born from the heart that awakens to the responsibility of loving. When someone begins to see the other as an essential part of their own life, care becomes natural. No effort is needed, no obligation is needed. Love converts into attention, into details, into small acts that say much more than long speeches. This type of gesture is like a spiritual whisper, a way for the universe to communicate, pay attention, because what you're living is not common. The blessing begins to manifest not in empty promises, but in behavioral change. It's in the unexpected that truth appears, because what is not planned reveals what is really inside the soul. Many times, these signs arrive in moments of vulnerability. When you think you're alone, when you believe no one notices your internal struggles, suddenly that unexpected care appears. It might be a word of encouragement when you are about to give up, or even a silent hug at the exact moment when tears almost escape. These gestures are much more than coincidences, they are evidence that there's an alignment happening, a harmony that goes beyond the rational. Unexpected care also has a transformative power. It breaks emotional barriers, heals old wounds, and opens space for a new stage in the relationship. Because, when you feel truly seen, valued, and supported, your soul expands, and the relationship gains a new dimension. It's not just about romance, but about love in action, love that expresses itself in practice. This care is, many times, the answer to silent prayers. How many times does the heart secretly ask for attention, for appreciation, for signs that it's important? And then, without you asking out loud, these signs begin to appear. The universe responds through the person who walks by your side, showing that you're not alone, that your desire was heard and is being answered. It's essential to recognize the depth of these gestures, because they don't happen by chance. The detail of a glass of water brought without you asking, the care in noticing when you're tired, the effort to lighten a burden from your day, all of this is life signaling that the blessing has already begun. It may not have manifested in its fullness yet, but it's already in motion, it's already happening behind the scenes. Unexpected care is a warning that the relationship is being transformed into fertile ground. It's like the first rain that announces the arrival of an abundant season. It's the spiritual message that love will not be just words or moments of euphoria, but daily construction, sustained by attitudes that confirm what the heart already knows. And when you begin to see these signs, you realize that something greater is being prepared. Unexpected care is not the end of the process, it's just another stage of the revelation. Because soon ahead, life will show that even conflicts can be used as instruments of union and growth. In every true relationship, conflicts are inevitable. It's impossible to walk side by side without, at some moment, differences coming to light. But there's a great revelation behind this. Conflicts don't arise only to divide, they can also become the bridge that unites, the fire that refines, the opportunity for growth that love uses to strengthen itself. When a blessing is approaching a relationship, the way disagreements happen begins to change, and this becomes one of the most profound signs of transformation. Before, perhaps each fight aimed to prove who was right. Words came out sharp, like weapons of defense, and the silence after the confrontation was heavy, full of unspoken grievances. But when the heart is touched by a greater energy, something different begins to happen. Conflict stops being a battlefield and becomes a space for learning. It's no longer about bringing down the other, but about finding a common path. It's at this moment that both begin to realize they're not fighting against each other, but together against the problem. The tone of conversations changes, pauses are filled with more conscious breathing, and even when the voice rises, the objective is not to hurt, but to be understood. This transformation doesn't happen by chance. It's the universe molding the relationship, preparing the couple for a more solid and mature union. The conflict that unites doesn't eliminate differences, but creates bridges between them. It shows that it's possible to disagree and still remain connected. And each time a disagreement ends in understanding, each time friction ends in an embrace, the bond strengthens. It's as if each battle fought side by side were one more step toward a more stable and blessed relationship. This type of conflict also brings unexpected revelations. Many times, in the heat of a discussion, truths that were hidden come to light. Fears, insecurities, and guarded desires finally find space to be said. And, instead of generating distance, this transparency brings closer, because it allows both to know each other better. When love is true, even moments of pain can become seeds of healing. This is one of the clearest signs that a blessing is coming, when conflicts are no longer a weight that distances, but an instrument that brings closer. Because love, when it matures, doesn't fear differences. It understands that it's precisely in them that the chance to evolve is found. And with each situation faced, the couple learns to value each other's presence more. The conflict that unites also teaches the art of forgiveness. Without forgiveness, there's no relationship that survives. But when it becomes a natural part of the process, when the apology is sincere and the acceptance is true, a new energy begins to envelop the relationship. Forgiveness transforms into renewal, and each reconciliation brings with it the sensation that love became even stronger than before. And it's not only the couple that notices this change. Those who observe from the outside notice the difference in the brightness of the eyes, in the lightness of gestures, in the maturity of attitudes. There's something new in the air, something that shows that relationship is not walking toward the end, but toward a rebirth. When conflicts stop being signs of weakness and become signs of strengthening, it's because the relationship is no longer being conducted only by human emotions. There's a greater force acting, molding, teaching, guiding. This force prepares both for a greater purpose, which goes far beyond overcoming fights. It's the construction of a story capable of resisting time. And while this process happens, new signs begin to reveal themselves. Because love, when guided by the Spirit, doesn't limit itself to the pleasure of company or to conquered harmony. It awakens something even deeper, the understanding that there's a greater purpose uniting the two. There's a moment in certain relationships when love stops being just a feeling to transform into a mission. This is one of the strongest signs that a blessing is coming, the perception that the relationship doesn't exist only to satisfy desires or supply needs, but to fulfill something much greater. It's as if, suddenly, the couple began to see that the encounter between them was not the work of chance, but part of a much broader plan, designed by the universe itself. This sense of purpose doesn't arise in a loud way. It appears subtly, in small revelations that accumulate until they become impossible to ignore. It's when you realize that, by his side, you don't just love, but grow. You don't just feel complete, but inspired to become a better version of yourself. It's when you understand that love is not there just to generate comfort, but to generate transformation. At this stage, the relationship stops revolving around individual needs and begins to walk toward something collective. The couple starts to see that together they are stronger, that united they have a greater impact on the world around them. This can manifest in simple decisions, like supporting each other in personal dreams, or in profound choices, like taking on causes and missions together that reverberate beyond their life as a couple. Purpose is also revealed in the capacity to resist adversities. When a relationship is just passion, any contrary wind can shake its structures. But when there's purpose, even storms are faced with courage. Because both know they're together not only to enjoy sunny days, but to walk side by side in any season of life. This certainty is one of the greatest spiritual gifts a couple can receive. This sensation also brings surprising clarity. Suddenly, both begin to understand that each challenge they've lived until now served to prepare them for this moment. Each tear, each disappointment, each painful wait was not in vain. Everything contributed so they could reach this point of maturity and understanding. The past stops being seen as a burden and begins to be understood as part of the process that built the present. Purpose, when awakened, also awakens faith. The couple begins to believe more in the future, to dream more boldly, to plan not just for the next few months, but for an entire life. There's the sensation that they walked until here for something greater, something that transcends the limits of the relationship itself. And this perception brings a different peace, because even facing uncertainties, there's confidence that they're on the right path. It's at this point that the blessing becomes clearer. Because it's no longer just about receiving love, but about being a channel of love. It's no longer just about living as a couple, but about radiating this union beyond themselves. And this awakening gives new meaning to the relationship, making both realize they were united not just to complete each other, but to contribute to something broader, something that can only be achieved together. This purpose doesn't eliminate challenges, but transforms the way of facing them. There's no longer room to give up easily, because the relationship begins to carry a meaning greater than the pains of the moment. Each difficulty becomes just another stage of a journey that was chosen by something greater. And with each step taken, the sensation grows, there's a mission, there's a destiny, there's a divine reason for this union. And when this truth settles in, the heart begins to perceive that even the coincidences surrounding the relationship are not mere casualties. They are constant reminders that life is orchestrating something extraordinary. There comes a point when the signs become so clear that it's impossible to call them chance. It's at this stage that life begins to speak even more intensely, using external situations as reminders that a blessing is approaching the relationship. What many would call coincidence, those with spiritual sensitivity recognize as confirmation. It's not chance, it's alignment. It's not luck, it's providence. Suddenly, you begin to notice that random conversations bring answers you've been seeking in silence. A friend, without knowing anything, shares exactly the words that comfort your soul. A song plays at the moment when your heart was distressed, and each verse seems written for you. Small encounters, unexpected messages, apparently common signs, everything begins to conspire to remind you that you're on the right path. These external signs are a way for the universe to communicate what was already happening inside you. They function as confirmations that that silent peace and that unexpected care were not illusions. They show that the overcome conflicts and the discovered purpose were not in vain. It's as if life were stitching each detail, each moment, to reveal a greater truth. You're being prepared for something extraordinary. Many women, when perceiving these coincidences, feel a shiver in their heart. It's as if an invisible voice said, "You're not dreaming, this is real." And this sensation of certainty grows with each sign until it transforms into conviction. Because when love is part of a divine purpose, the universe takes charge of confirming it. These coincidences reveal that there's no chance when it comes to true love. When the relationship is guided by something greater, everything conspires for the construction of this story. The signs can come in dreams, in loose words, in happenings that seem banal. But for those who are spiritually awake, each detail carries deep meaning. And the most surprising thing is how these signs always arrive at the right moment. Not before, not after, but exactly at the time when you most need confirmation. When doubt threatens the heart, an answer emerges. When fear begins to grow, a reminder appears. When faith is about to weaken, life sends a message so clear that it's impossible to ignore. These coincidences also have the power to generate movement. Many times, the couple begins to make different decisions, to see new paths, to open doors that before seemed closed. All because these signs function as invisible compasses, guiding each step to the destiny that was already written. And, in this journey, certainty increases. It's not coincidence, it's blessing manifesting itself. It's as if the universe repeated tirelessly, "Don't give up, don't be afraid, continue." Because something greater is happening. And the more these signs accumulate, the more you understand that your story is not common. There's a special mark, a divine signature, showing that this relationship was chosen to live something beyond what human eyes can see. The coincidence that is not coincidence closes the cycle of revelations. First came the silence of peace. Then, the unexpected care. Next, the conflicts transformed into union. Then, the discovery of purpose. And now, the external confirmations, which serve as a spiritual seal of everything that has already been lived. It's at this point that the heart understands, the blessing is not just coming, it has already begun to manifest. And the most beautiful thing is to realize that each sign, each detail, was not given for nothing. All of them were stitched with perfection to lead to here. The love that seemed common reveals itself as extraordinary. The relationship that seemed just another one becomes unique. And what many would call coincidence reveals itself as proof that destiny was, from the beginning, taking care of each step. Have you been paying attention to the details of your relationship, or are you still waiting only for the great proofs of love to believe that something special is happening? How many times have you already ignored the signs that life was placing before you, and how many times have you lost the chance to realize that love was already transforming? If these questions moved you, it's because inside your heart there already exists the intuition that a new phase is coming. The blessing is not something distant, it's already in motion. And it's up to you to decide if you're going to open yourself to receive it or if you're going to let it pass unnoticed. If this message touched your soul and you feel you need to continue receiving revelations like this, subscribe to the channel now, activate the bell, and share this video with other women who also need to awaken to the signs of love. Your story is being written at this exact moment, and perhaps this is the first step to see the blessing that is already on its way.